And now that I can't move around as much, I'm trying to use what little I can still do.
I'm very honored and excited today to be speaking with Amalie Atkins, the director of Agatha's Almanac, and Agatha Brock herself. Um, is it,
I'm here in
you,
person, believe it or not.
pardon?
I'm here in person, believe it or not.
If I could, I'd roll out the red carpet for you. Uh,
She deserves a red carpet.
she does. Honestly, thank you so much for the time. It's a joy to speak with you both. Um, Agatha's Almanac is a beautiful film. And Emily, why did you want to tell Agatha's story this way?
I believe there is no short answer for that question. She has been part of my life since I was born. She would come to the farm and help my mom every time my mom had a baby. So there's five siblings. So I met her when I was born, and then consecutively every time my mom had another kid, she would come to the farm and spend time with us. And so I've known her my entire life, as you do when someone is your aunt. But we were also lived an hour apart. So I grew up in the country, and Agatha was in Winnipeg and on the farm.
My
Uh,
holidays revolve around my sister's babies.
Yeah, not just our family. We have a huge family. So Agatha was always making a quilt for somebody and their baby. So there's many quilts in the world on account of Agatha. And as I got older, I and started making films. I had made two films prior to the Diamond Eye Assembly, which was a film trilogy. And when I started shooting that film, which was all about this world of women, and I needed a matriarch for that world, someone to play that character, I thought Agatha is the one to play this character. And so I asked her if she'd like to be in the film, and she said yes. And she came to Saskatoon and was part of that project, as well as her sister Emily had a part in that project too. There was a scene where they layered on many, or Agatha layered on about 40 aprons. Um, and so working with her was great. She never questioned, why are we doing this? Why the 40 aprons? What's going on in this world? At one point in time, she put a pair of bread shoes onto a character who had died, whose body was moving out the window. She just was up for all of it. Whatever we wanted to do, yep, no problem. It's great. And so working with her on that film and seeing how solid she was on camera, she's very present. I mean, she's present at all times, but on camera, she's not self-conscious. She's present and, willing to participate in storytelling. Um, and because her presence was so strong on camera, I realized actually what I want to do next is solely focused on her, nobody else. One character on the farm, well, character, one character
During the summer,
playing herself. Yeah, during the spring, summer, and fall are all of the times we were able to shoot because she doesn't live there during the winter. It's not really winterized. It's not set up for winter. So we started probably almost 7 years ago is when we started because it was pre-pandemic. I think 2019 is when we did our first shoot. Um, and then we carried on, and it started out as a short. I was going to do a short film. And then every time I would go to shoot another chapter, it would unfold that like she would present me with more information than I could manage with that single shoot. So there's always more. Like it was just like continually unfolding and there was always more coming. There's always another plan. Like I would see something and think, okay, next time we'll do the hair washing. Because I had no idea that she had this whole process for hair washing. So that's one example. So I would say next time we'll do that, or whatever it was. There's so many activities, and we didn't get everything. There's
you
sort of
never
like
do.
endless. So it's not all in the film, but I feel like we captured the essence of what it's like to be on the farm. It's a very beautiful place to be. It's very
On that
peaceful
farm.
on that farm, on your farm.
We had a lot of challenges. We had running water, but we couldn't use it because there was underground flow from the river to the basement where the water line was attached to the cistern. Whenever the river level was too high, we couldn't have running water. Then we collected rainwater in 10-gallon pails outside the house and carried it in for a good part of the summer. I did that for many summers, actually, until they fixed the dike and the water flowed more freely and water level came down in the spring so we could use our water.
Well, that and with some help from duct tape.
Well, it wouldn't stop me. Why would it? Eventually it rained.
Why would anything stop you?
Agatha, what was this like for you when Amalie came and said, I want to tell your story? What was going through your mind?
Well, I didn't think she was going to make a huge film out of it. She had been doing 5-minute films, silent ones. So when she started, no big deal. And then she just kept on and on and on, adding more and more stuff to it. Finally, she said, it's going to be a story about you.
And probably a couple of years into it is when we realized it would be a feature film, because there was over 2 hours of footage at that point. So it cut down. The editing process took quite a while, because you're shooting and editing as you go. So at one point it was 2 hours long. I showed her a version of it last year around at her right before your birthday. And she said, you need to cut this down. That was her feedback. You need to cut. We only made it through half. She said, you got to cut this down. So I felt like, that's actually maybe the permission I need to make some harder decisions, because when you shoot on film, it's quite hard to let go of footage because it's all beautiful. There really isn't, you don't really get bad footage when you shoot on film.
She wanted to get the deer at the living room window into the film. So she had to cut back a little on the garden part.
Yeah, it was tricky, trimming a bit here and trimming a bit there. Yeah.
Well, it comes off so beautifully, and you mentioned about using film. I think that adds to it. There's a certain look and feel to this film that I think is really beautiful. Um, but Emily, I wanted to ask you about the hands, because we have a huge emphasis on Agatha's hands, and we see her gloves, and we see her working. Why did you choose to make that such a big theme in this film?
I think because she never stops moving her hands. She's always doing something. Like I don't see her sitting idly very often, if ever. Like in the film, she talks about she says, okay, yeah, there was one time I sat down and sat on the swing and enjoyed the beauty around me. And I thought, that's something I don't necessarily, I'm sure she does this, sits down and enjoys a moment of quiet, but it's not something that any family members ever see. Like if she's in with our family, she's running the show. There's no sitting. So she's like busy making food. She's busy making pierogies. She's busy making buns. Like for Easter, she hosted 40 people for Easter. So there was buns to make, caramel corn. She did a whole like egg baskets for all the Easter bread, all the things. So she's always working. And I think it's this like unseen, I mean, I see it, but maybe it can be considered unseen labor or unacknowledged labor. Like I think when you are the matriarch in a large family, people sort of, in some ways, might take it for granted or expect it, or it's always been there. And so I wanted to sort of point this out, like all of what she does and how valuable it is, and pay attention and be a witness to her work, and that would include her hands. So yeah, I loved having that close-ups on her hands.
What she doesn't know is that every night I sit down and watch the moon come out before I go to bed. If I'm too tired to go in and make a meal or supper, I have a rest on my swing on the yard. A beautiful swing. It's very restful.
I didn't know about the moon. See, this is
You did?
I know I did not. I
have-
did not know about the moon.
No, you didn't, because you weren't there.
Right. I didn't do many night shoots. I got kicked out before sundown.
When I was too tired to continue, I'd sit down on my swing.
I mean, we had some long days.
Well, Agatha, I wanted to ask you about that because, Emily mentions about sitting on the swing and the beauty all around you, but at one point you also say that you see all kinds of opportunities when you're looking around and to
Absolutely.
improve things. I was wondering, you know, what is it about, what is it that you want to, how can I ask this well? Is there a relationship between seeing the beauty around you and wanting to make things better?
Seeing the relationship and new beauty comes from seeing my God. He made it all for us to enjoy. And now that I can't move around as much, I'm trying to use what little I can still do, and I'm reading the Bible to 2 blind ladies every day, and they really appreciate it. I can't drive anymore, so I have to do something they can still do. And that's one opportunity that I have, among a few others. So,
And do you feel like the things that you do at the farm are perhaps adding to the beauty that exists there already?
absolutely.
Like last year, she was like, I got to get these birds. There's a lot of burrs and weeds and things that, we're obviously not shooting. We're not shooting all the work that has to be done. We're really focused on what she's done to cultivate beauty within the space, but it's a big area and there are like lots of birds to take care of. Last year, she was, really had wanted to go in and take care of those, but it's a lot. It's a lot for one person to manage. But she does have this beautiful yard of lamium, right? And she doesn't want anyone to drive on it because
Never
it's,
mention, never do it all.
yeah, you can't do it all. But the lamium is a good choice because you don't have to mow it as often as, say, grass, and it just keeps growing every year.
And blooming all
Yeah.
summer.
So there's a choice of like what plant is going to work for maybe the least amount of upkeep and still have this beautiful green space to enjoy. So I feel like decisions like that she's made where, yeah, that can be managed. But it's a lot to manage.
Yeah, it would be. And I have to admit, watching the film, there are great gardening tips in here. I'm not gonna lie. I show these to my wife because it's gardening time again. But no, sure, absolutely. There's always more that can be done. Um, honestly, sorry, go ahead.
I brought one little picture of the garden, and you'll get an idea what it would look like.
Do you want me to I can get the picture if you want.
It's in the little
See.
album.
Oh, we also did bring, she brought one of her plans. So she also, oh, the camera. Do you mind taking off the background and then we can?
Yeah, sure.
That's harvest time.
Okay, so she's got, she's always gonna recycle everything. So she would use whatever, and so this is her, use whatever's around her. So her garden plan. So the garden's like a long space.
Here's the picture of the garden. You'll see it better from there.
Oh, yeah, this in its heyday, those were the many beans.
Wow.
In the film, I think there's one or two rows.
2 rows of garden, and
Yeah.
the rest is beans. One year I had 630 pounds of beans, dry beans. And they were all sold word of mouth by people who enjoyed that product. As far as I know, nobody else in Manitoba grows them. The seeds came from Russia. My father started all this when he was in his 90s. When he died, my brother said, well, we have the seeds, we might as well throw them in. We threw them in for another 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that part of the story, how it's just continuously.
I paid for half of the farm. And after
Wow.
I paid, I said, family only from now on.
It's a lot of work if you saw the bean harvesting scene.
It's interesting.
It's absolutely wonderful, honestly.
Never had a crop failure.
Pardon?
I never had a crop failure.
Really?
No,
Wow. That is amazing.
except for the year of the flood when I couldn't plant.
Oh yeah.
It was-
2011, right?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Nobody planted anything that year in the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, like all of southern Manitoba was underwater that year.
Not all of them.
Well, I'm exaggerating,
the
but
area
yeah.
where I lived,
Right.
a large part, but not all of it. No, not nearly all of it.
I'm just trying to make it sound dramatic because
Yeah.
he
Hundreds of
lives in
acres.
Toronto. He won't know.
It's a fair point. It's a fair point. Honestly, to you both, I'm sorry we're out of time, but the film is so lovely. It's so beautiful. Thank you so much for the time to chat about it. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Have a great day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. You too. Bye-bye.